Hi, so this video is just accompanying a blog article called Good Bugs, Bad Bugs, and it's just going to demonstrate a mechanism for taking advantage of the temporary files that are created in this folder on the left, my local updated local temp folder, when you create a project. So I'm going to create a project using these three files: an Excel file, a Word file, and a PowerPoint file. So I'll do that first. Click on New Project, call it Good Bugs, Bad Bugs. I'll remove all of these languages because I only want one language. It doesn't really matter what it is for the purpose of this exercise. I'm not actually going to translate the files. And I'm going to select all three of those files and just add them into my project. Now normally if you wanted to create a merged STL_XLIF file and be able to send that single file onto a translator to work on or onto somebody else to go and work with, you would have to do it at this stage. Because if you use the virtual merge feature, you cannot save that virtually merged file. It's only merged when you open the files to work on it. So to do it here, you would click on the files you wanted to merge. So it could be all three of the files, or maybe you'd just click 2, for example, and say merged 1. You'd say there's your merged 1 file, and then if you had more files, you'd pick some more, and you could merge all the files as you wanted so that you could send the merged files on to somebody later on. But if you didn't want to do that, if you wanted some flexibility to merge the files virtually, then you're stuffed, because you cannot create these merged STL_XLIF files and save them, which is something many people want to do. So what I'm going to do is remove that merged file, and I'm just going to create a project with the three files as they are. I'm just going to click on finish at that point. I'm not going to use a TM, so there'll be a little warning will pop up here in a second, because I've pre-translated without a TM being connected. Okay, that's what that little warning is there. So I'm just going to close that file now. That's my project created. And as I open that project, you can see I've got my three files there. Now if I go back over to my Total Commander, you can see I've got some temp files in here now. These are temp files that have been created right now while I've been doing this work. And Studio's using these in the background. They're only temporary files. Once the project is complete, or once I've closed Studio, they're not used anymore. They are important while you're working, and in case you didn't realize it, sometimes when these files get deleted while you're working, this is one of the things that can cause problems for people trying to save target files and things like that. So if you've got aggressive software running that is clearing up the temporary directories while you're working, this is the area, well, this is one of the areas where you can run into difficulties. Anyway, let me come back to this. So we've got those files now, the three big ones, or the three ones at the top there. These probably represent the three files I've got there. You can see that they're very similar in size. These are probably representative of the files I've got there. If I open this up for translation, and I selected all three there, all three files. So I've merged the files. You can see I've got all three there, one there, one there. So they're all there. If I save it by pressing Ctrl+S, when I go back into here, you'll see now I've got a bigger file at the top. And if I take that bigger file, and I'm just going to copy it over into this folder so I don't lose it, that's the bigger file, and then rename it. I'll just put a dot STL_XLIF at the end. You could rename this bit as well to make it something more meaningful. It does not have to be the same, but I've just added the STL_XLIF on the end. What I can do then is, if I close this merged file, okay, like that. So I'm going to add a new folder, merged files, like that, and then I'm just going to drop the STL_XLIF into that folder like that. Now you see this is switched back over to the source language, and what I need to do now is I just need to copy that, because if I go to Catalan again, you'll see that I haven't actually got that folder or the file in there. So what I need to do is click on it, run a batch task, and just copy the target languages, which just will send it over to the correct location. And now I can go back to Catalan, and you can see I've now got this temporary file in here. Now if I double click that temporary file, it's one STLXLIF, and when I open it up, you can see I've actually got all 3 files still, which is pretty cool. And if I save the target file, so I'll just press Shift F12, it's going to save the target files directly into the correct folder. So there's the PowerPoint, I save. That runs through and saves the target file for the PowerPoint. Then it prompts me for the docx file. And then finally for the Excel file. Okay, so that's all the files saved. So I was able to save the files from there. In practice, you probably wouldn't create the extra folder inside your own project like this. You might do, and you could create all sorts of folders in here, depending on how many files you actually had within your original project. So you could merge them in any way you felt necessary, and then create the temporary files to send them out, which is pretty cool. But if you were just sending the STLXLIF off to somebody else, you'd probably just create it, take it from your folder, send them the file, then bring it back in again, and then you would use it to update your own files and pre-translate them against that. So to do that, when you got the file back, you'd click on the file, run a batch dash to update your translation memories. If you were using project translation memories, you'd use this one. If not, you'd use the main translation memories. So I'll just click on that. I don't know what that's going to do. I've got none as a warning because I haven't got a translation memory attached to this at the moment. You can see if you click on the results, it said no translation memory is found. It's not a bug, it's just because I've been a bit silly. And once you've done that, you go to the main files, select all the files that you wanted to update, and then run a pre-translation batch task, and that will update those with the contents of your translation. So if you didn't want to rely on this for saving the target files, that would be the process you'd go through. So it's a pretty cool little workaround.